Wikipedia, but you can do your homework because most of you don't. You want Danny to do all the work for you, and he does a phenomenal job, folks.
Thank you.
Scroll down. Okay, I don't know if this is what I told you to pull up. Go back up. Did you leave the ones I told you or no? Okay, down. Marriage age in the U.S. Here, let's start here.
There we go.
Let's start here. Start at age of consent. Start at age of consent. Let people do their homework.
In 1275, in England, as part of a law, the Statute of Westminster, in 1275, it was a misdemeanor to ravish a maiden within age, whether with or without her consent. The phrase "within age" was interpreted by jurist Sir Edward Coke to mean the age of marriage, which at the time was 12 years old.
Okay, 12 years old. Now we're going to go down deeper into this. So 1275 is almost 600 years after the Prophet, and they consider this a normal age to have intercourse. But go down. I can see the
ravage made.
Go down even more. Start right there. Actually, go down a little more. Okay. That's a 7. I don't know if that's because it's Joe Biden's home state. I don't know.
Almost 100 years after America became a thing.
Okay. And they want to go. They set the age to 12 and so forth. Okay. Hold that now. Let's go to the next one. It's in Europe. Let's pull it. This is America.
Yeah.
Okay, the age of consent was just changed a few years ago in Europe. I think it was like 13, and they just officially changed it. Okay?
How long ago did they change it?
If I had a daughter and somebody wanted to marry her at 10, I would put them. I would bet up the
look at Mary,
families.
bro. Mary was 12. She had not only was she married, but she was impregnated. She was cosmically impregnated. She was cosmically impregnated
by the father. So was the father a pedo?
Probably.
But they don't have a problem attacking Muslims and creating Islamophobia and creating hatred. When if we look at their ancestors, this is all of Europe, 15 years old, 13 years old, 12 years old, they were married. Now there's a difference between being engaged, Danny, and consummating the marriage. They were consummating these marriages, bro. 8 years old to a 30-year-old. Look at Cecile of France. Okay?
Where's Cecile of France?
Right there, 12th century.
Oh, it's 12th century.
Okay.
8 to 9 was married.
Yeah, okay. All right, so look in the mirror.
Yeah, it's the stuff's ubiquitous.
Yes,
the stuff's ubiquitous.
Yes, because the rule of the world, about 100 years ago, really until feminism, right? So their movement, women's movement.
Child trafficking was also ubiquitous back then too. Not only was marrying, it was only like a civil lawsuit. I could, if there was damages, I could sue you or whatever.
These are centuries and centuries of the royals, princes, you name it, throughout all of Europe.
Oh my God.
Throughout of all of Europe, yet most of the people that come from
8 or 9 Elizabeth of Cumin.
Okay, a Christian background here in the U.S. Go look at your grandparents, your great-great-grandparents, man. They were pedos. Bro. They were pedos. And you guys want to attack what? Now let me set the background of the Prophet's marriage. No one knew her age. She wrote hadith. I was around 6. I was around 8. She didn't even know her own age. That's a fact. My grandmother, God rest her soul, born in Albania, they didn't keep documents. She didn't even know her own age, bro. That's a fact. I know Albanians that were engaged in the womb. They were engaged. Doesn't mean they consummated the marriage, but they were engaged. That's just the way the world was.
Right.
Families traded. You have a son, I have a daughter. That's how they kept ties. That's how they kept power. That's throughout the world.
Sure. It still happens today.
If we pull up Asia right now, same thing, but we don't have to. You guys go do your homework. So where am I going with all this?
Yeah, where are you going with this?
First of all, anyone that marries a 10-year-old today should be hung. Okay? I'm not saying it's right, but in context. From divine influence. I dare people to research the signs of the end of the world in Islam. I fucking dare you to. How did he know about this?
I mean, you think it's that much of a stretch to be able to predict that people would build skyscraper towers?
Yeah, but think about it. He said from their people, not anyone else. They were a fucking joke before he came. They were like a forgotten civilization.
Well, maybe he was just talking about people in general.
He said the Bedouins, and he described how they're going to boast. And think about it. That's what they're doing. They're having a race between each other to build skyscrapers. I'm going to build Saudi Arabia. We're going to build one bigger than you. It's exactly what he said. He said soon the time will come where a man becomes a woman and a woman becomes a man. And they will dress like one another. The family unit will be destroyed and the bastards will take over. Bastard children. Children born out of wedlock, they will be so full of rage, they will destroy all those that are around them. That's the fucking country we're in right now. The bastard generation. You said that my first time with you, but I was right about it. The bastard. They commit 90% of violent crime because they don't have a father. Because their mother didn't want them. They were conceived with no love. Therefore, they show no love to the world. They were conceived out of deadly sins, and that's why all we have from them is death and chaos. This is the bastard generation. He predicted that also. He said that the war of all wars would start over the Euphrates River. Now, it hasn't happened yet, but that's the footwork. Syria, Iraq, Iran, Turkey. That's the Euphrates. He said a war will start there that will engulf the whole entire world. It'll be basically Armageddon. Basically Armageddon, that supposedly there's something under that river, under the Euphrates River, that the whole entire world's gonna fight over. Maybe they already know, man. Maybe that's what this is all about. Maybe these powers that be already know. Maybe they read the prophecy and they went to go see what's under that river. What is under that river of the Euphrates? This is also in the Bible, by the way, that when the Euphrates River runs dry, there's end of the world stuff. But in any event, this is an episode on its own where we can go over prophecy of the end of the world in Islam. I'd like to pick it up maybe the next time around. It would be an amazing episode, just talk about the signs of the end of the world and maybe the correlations to Christian doctrine.
Do you think Jesus really was a divine being? Do you think he really was?
I don't think he was God.
He
was sent by the divine. So he was created the same way Adam was, or John the Baptist. God blew his soul to Mary's womb, but he didn't physically, do something with Mary. John the Baptist's parents never had physical relations to make him. They were too old. His father was way past the age, and his mother was barren. She had no eggs. Jesus' cousin. Yeah, he had two parents, but they didn't have physical intercourse to create him. I don't know if a lot of people understand that. So yes, Jesus' birth was miraculous in the fact he had no father and there was no one physically there to get her pregnant. And I do believe that as a Muslim. It sounds crazy. You believe in a fairy tale. You've lost your fucking mind. Right. Like, that's one thing like Muslims and Christians laugh about. Like, everyone thinks we're fucking crazy that we believe in this woman Mary who got pregnant with no man.
Right.
Muslims and Christians. So like, you believe probably wouldn't. Do you know why I accepted Islam? It was because so many scientific miracles that couldn't be explained were in that book. I challenge anyone that's listening to this. Google scientific miracles of the Holy Quran. So for me, the reason I accept those stories of Jesus walking on water and bringing people back from the dead and Moses part of the Red Sea is not using my own logic. It's using X plus Y equals Z. I believe there is a God. There's enough scientific evidence, to me at least, to prove that there's a creator. Leaving denomination out of it all. I just don't find it anything to be random. Meaning, if the sun wasn't where it is, the 7 layers of the atmosphere, trees give us oxygen, we give them what they need, and I can go on and on and on. Like thousands of points that need to be perfect for us to even exist and to be having this conversation right now.
Right.
Like, millions of points that need to be in order for you to even exist, which makes me think of this verse from the Holy Quran of which of the favors of your Lord do you deny? And it goes through this whole list that God's basically
that's what I'm trying to get at, is that because it is so incredible that we are here and that we exist, that we were the created. When was the first human? How was the first human created? How was the first plant photosynthesis? How does all this shit work? If you ascribe it to God, then it's reasonable.
I believe the earth was created long before humans. I've spoke about this in our episode when we did aliens and demons. A lot of this subject matter is there, and I don't want people to get bogged down on this episode, but we spoke about this on the last pod. So go back and check it out, folks. But
that was last December.
For me, for example, let's just pull up one of these. Go ahead, scroll down, buddy. Let me just give you an example of what drew me to Islam. Do the Big Bang Theory, number 2.
Big Bang.
Here we go. So in Surah Al-Anbiya, okay, also states, this is what God says in the Quran, chapter 21, what did he do there? Okay, chapter 21 of the Holy Quran, verse 30. What did he do here? So, Have those who disbelieved not considered that the heavens and the earth were a joint entity and we separated them? In 1929, American astronomer Edwin Hubble proposed the Hubble's law, according to which all entities in space are moving away from Earth at speeds proportional to their distance. The greater the distance from Earth, the faster they are moving. Soon after this, he discovered that galaxies are moving away from each other, meaning the universe is still expanding, right? Continue down. The Big Crunch theory, like all these things that are now being proven were in this book. This is the most fascinating one, by the way. This one blew my mind away.
Embryology?
In the Surah Al-Mu'min, which means the chapter of the believer in Islam. It says in chapter 23 of the Quran, verse 12, we created man from an extract of clay. We made him as a drop in a place of settlement firmly fixed. Yeah. Then we made the drop into a leech suspended thing. He describes exactly.
Yeah. There's echoes of the Sumerian text here.
The 4 stages of the human embryo. The first microscope didn't come out till 1,000 years later. How could he have known? A man that couldn't read or write. And it goes on and on. So I see all these scientific miracles. Okay, there was no way to have known. So I'm like, okay, I see this book sung by people without even looking at it, man. Every Ramadan, bro. Every Ramadan, I see people get up in front of the mosque and lead the prayer for the whole month. They're called Hafiz.